Hey guys, thanks for checking in. Today what we're going to focus on is shoulders. I'm going to show you the differences between using a straight barbell, a dumbbell, and using resistance bands of how you can get a great shoulder workout. A lot of people love to use a straight barbell because it's one giant load and allows you to press a lot of weight. The problem with using one straight barbell is that once your hands grasp hold of this bar, they can't change grips. Sometimes that can put your wrist in an uncomfortable position, and that also doesn't allow you to move freely in 3D space. You're locked into the plane of this barbell. So obviously this doesn't have any weight on it, but it's just for demonstration purposes. So you'll see people do the overhead press. The problem is my hands are stuck here. I can't move them freely or rotate them to reduce the strain of my wrist. So when you're here, you're locked into this movement, which is why I prefer not to use the barbell. Secondarily, if you start getting tired or if you fail in this move, I mean, this thing's going to crash down on your head. There's a lot of damage that you can incur from using a barbell. We're not going to use barbells for shoulder exercises. I don't use them. I don't endorse it. So we're going to put this barbell on the ground. The benefits about using a dumbbell is it allows your hands to move in 3D space. It allows you to rotate your wrist, move this in and out to work all areas of the muscle. So instead of being stuck out here in the wide T position that puts a lot of strain on the shoulder, you can bring your shoulder in towards your body, reducing the strain on that anterior deltoid, and press your arms up overhead. You can move, you can rotate, you can move freely with your wrist. The benefit of having a dumbbell over a barbell is that freedom of range of motion. Also, if you get stuck up in the air and this comes crashing down, there isn't a bar that's going to smack your head, smack your chin, or fall down on top of you. Worst case scenario, this fails on you, it crashes to the ground next to you, and you're safe. The next evolution that I believe would be the resistance bands. And here's what you can do. In the previous video, I showed you how to use resistance band shoulder press standing up with the resistance band where it's underneath your feet. That's a really great exercise. You can also do it using a chair. Okay? You can do overhead shoulder press. Overhead shoulder press. Now the way to grasp it that is the best, don't grasp it underneath so that the cord runs along the back of your wrist, because then the tension is going to rotate your wrist to the outside, break that grip, but also bring your elbow this way when it doesn't naturally bend. Your elbow does bend this way, so you're going to want to pass it along the inside of your hand, grasp the resistance band along the inside. And now you can do overhead shoulder press. You can go left side, right side. And remember that the resistance for this side is gauged by my right side. I want to make it harder. I pull this up more, and now this left side's got to push more against resistance. You can wrap this around your leg, you can hold it here, and now you're pressing overhead. Now, let's say that gets too easy. That's where your second band comes in. Now we're going to double up the resistance, and remember, the right side slack gauges the left side of work. So what we're going to do is we're going to chalk up a bit of slack on the right side, and now this resistance, I'm going to just make this straight, this resistance is started even here in the bottom position. And you can straighten it up overhead. Oh, that's a tough move. It's a really good move. A couple of reasons why you want to use resistance bands for your shoulder exercises. One, it is variable resistance. So in the bottom position, it's easier to press. This is where you're at your weakest. As soon as you start moving through that range of motion, you get stronger, more muscles are able to act, you can come up to the top. Most people don't like to lock out at the top, they like to keep it slightly bent, because when you lock out, your tricep kicks in. That's more advanced stuff. We're just showing you the benefits of a shoulder press using a resistance band. So when you're here and you're at your weakest, it's slightly easier than when it's more overhead. The benefits of that are, when you're on that dumbbell and you get locked down here, you may not have enough strength to get it past that sticking point through the first 1/3 of the range of motion. Once you get it past, you can still work. The problem is, that's the lowest common denominator. If you're stuck on the dumbbell, that weight will never change. If it's 60 pounds, it's going to be 60 pounds here, it's going to be 60 pounds here. This increases. So, here's how it works. We're just going to use fictional numbers. Start of the range of motion. Now it's equivalent to 40 pounds. 45, 50, 55, 60, 60, and then it comes back down. So, as you get stronger through that range of motion, the resistance band gets harder. That is impossible to do using dumbbells unless you've got chains. This is basically what's happening. As you press it through, somebody's like adding more weight on top of that. That is an incredible concept. That's what happens with the resistance band. Another safety feature that the resistance band offers is because you pass the weight, the resistance, towards the inside of your body, there's no chance that the load is going to go to the outside and really crank your shoulder out. Let's just say you're at your 6th rep, you're using a really heavy weight and you're straining to get it over the top. Once you get it to here, there is an equal possibility that if you don't stabilize your shoulder properly, that the free weight, like a dumbbell, is going to take off. It could crash you in the head, it could fall down to the ground, it could take your shoulder and pull it out. I mean, with a 60, 70, 80 pounds, whatever you're using for your shoulder press, that's a lot of weight to put over your head. It will generate a lot of force and pull it down. That could do a lot of damage. When you use a resistance band, the energy of the resistance is always going to come back to this point. So there's no possibility of your shoulder getting taken away from you. It's always going to rotate back to the inside where your elbow actually bends. It's more anatomically correct for your body to move. So, here's what you can do. Let's get to the exercises. We're going to take the right side. We're going to work our right side now. We're going to take this left side. We're going to hold the resistance there. We're just using one resistance band. This is easy. Overhead, do some shoulder presses. No big deal. We're having a good time. I want to make it harder. I pull this 2, 3, 4 inches. And now I'm using more of the band. It gets harder. And because I'm using a band, I'm allowed to freely rotate my wrist, move my shoulder in various 3D space to activate more of the muscles, and also rotate my wrist to take some of that tension off of your wrist as well. Let's say the single band gets too easy. Well, now you double it up. Immediately it gets harder. I'm actually going to have to bring more slack to it. See? See what I'm doing right here? This is easier. This is harder. Grab it here. Press it overhead. Press it overhead. You can bring it to the front. Press it overhead. Tuck your elbow back in. And because the bands allow you to freely rotate your wrist, it gives you the benefit of the dumbbell by switching grips instantaneously. It gives you the safety of not having that free weight take off on you and pull your elbow to the outside. If you think resistance bands can't get you a good workout, you need to reevaluate them. Take a look at them. Use them in your shoulder exercises. A great way of combining them, use your heavy dumbbells to get those overhead shoulder presses. Once you reach that sticking point where you can't get it above this first part, ditch them. Go immediately to a superset where you're using resistance bands. It gets easier and then it gets harder. It's easier and then it gets harder. Check it out. Thanks for watching, guys.